Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, financial, or investment advice. Information presented is from internet or other news sources. Always do your own research and due diligence. We're not responsible for and expressly disclaim all liability for damages of any kind arising out of use, reference to, or reliance on any information contained in this broadcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Money and Change, the 2026 edition. Wow, can you believe it? Another year starting for us? Holy cow, there's so much stuff going on right now. I'll tell you what, you're going to learn how to take care of your car today. You're going to learn how to save some money. You're going to take a look at inflation and a bunch of other things. All you have to do is check out our Facebook page, Money and Change / Financially Prepped, and all the information that we're going to cover today will be on that webpage. Plus, there are also some other good videos, so you want to check those out. But anyhow, guys, welcome to Money and Change right here on the Trim Radio Network, and it's the 2026th edition. And hopefully this year is going to be better than last, right? Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at people we have to talk about. Because if we don't give them a pat on the back, I don't know, maybe they'll disown me. Who knows? Anyhow, let's take a look at the Trim Radio Network because they help sponsor the show. And I'll tell you what, they do a very good job of doing all different kinds of shows. Plus, they're actually having more shows coming online very, very soon. Hey, we've got the Brain Trust here, the Fab Four. Yeah, the Fab Four. Michael Bejas is the founder and CEO of Trim Radio Network. He's responsible for the vision, the mission, and the leadership and performance of the entire company. And I'll tell you what, we've got Ruscala Stefan. He's the Chief Operating Officer, and he's responsible for the day-to-day operation management of the network. And I'll tell you what, he's a computer guru. He really is. If you need something fixed with the computer, he's the guy to talk to, really. He's a very good person, too. Anyhow, we also have some other guy by the name of Stu Shear. And he's the Chief Relationship Officer, and he hasn't been able to figure that one out yet, what he does. I guess I'm supposed to make people happy. Well, hopefully I do. And I also give out good information, too. Also, we have Victoria Smith, who's the Chief Marketing Officer. She's responsible for all marketing activities, brand development, audience growth, and creator acquisition strategies. And besides that, if you need some marketing advice, get a hold of Victoria Smith. Trust me, she's a whiz. She's a character. I'll tell you what, I can't really say character. She's a good character because she knows marketing inside and out. She's very good at what she does. What else is going on? Oh, yeah, the different shows that we have. Of course, we've got Money and Change every Sunday at 7 p.m. We've got Life Walk with Christ God with Michael Bejas. And that's Wednesdays at 7 p.m., followed by My World, Live, Laugh, and Whatever, which is on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Then we have Victoria Smith's Natural Marketer podcast, and that's on Thursdays. And the next day it appears in the vault. I guess all of us appear the next day in the vault. We also have Offsides College Football Top 25 with Michael Bejas and friends. We also have the Positude podcast. We have Adventure Awaits Around the Bend. We have, that's on Saturday. We have Ranch It Up with Tigger and Beck. That's Saturday at 1:30. Then we have the Ruscala Red Pill reality show at 9 p.m. till midnight. He's doing a late night shift. And it's a good show. You got to check it out. He has a lot of different speakers on there. And it's a good one. Really, check it out. Well, we have 3 slots here which are going to be filled pretty soon. We have somebody coming in with a new show called Revelation. And then we have another one with Dora, and she's going to be pitching her show coming up soon. And we have a third one, and I'm not privy to that one just yet. So you want to check those out. And if you want to do your own show, hey, it's easy. All you have to do is contact us. You see the little red button over here? Click on that button. Put your name in, your phone number, and it's where it says, I want to know more. Hey, tell us, hey, I want to do my own show. And this is the topic I want to do, and I want to do it live. And please call me at, here's my cell phone number, and also here is my email address. That's important. And all you have to do then is just click that button and somebody will get right back to you. Okay. That little red button is an important thing because that puts you in touch with us. Wow. What else is going on? Oh, yeah. How can you support us? It's very easy. If you want to support us and help us stay on the air, all you have to do is click on the collectibles and then shop. And what we have here are different things. Remember, you can donate to trimradio.com. You can purchase the merchandise, or you can advertise on trimradio.com. And the money that we get for that goes to pay for airtime because none of us get paid for doing our shows. We just want to help people and we want to cut the bull and serve the truth. That's the motto. Okay. So what we have here, we've got t-shirts, we've got hats, we've got mugs, we've got t-shirts. Hey, Money and Change t-shirt and the insulated travel mug. Hey, that's a good deal. Also, we've got the ceramic mugs. We've got Offsides College Football Top 25 Premium Piquet polo shirts. We've got other t-shirts too. And let's see what else they've added. Well, kids shirts, Offsides mugs, Red Pill Reality Show mugs. We've got round mouse pads. And we have the Trim Creator Dad's hat. Also, we've got the embroidered beanies and we've got the rubber case for AirPods. You supply the AirPods and buy the case and it will protect your AirPods. Okay. So we have that. What's on page 3? Whoa, we have tank tops and t-shirts. And more than likely, we're going to have even more items coming up. So all you have to do is either donate or buy the merchandise or advertise with us. The money that we get from that, like I said, goes to running the airtime for the show. Airtime is not cheap, believe me. So that's what we do. Okay. Wow. What else is going on? Oh, our Money and Change / financially prepped page. Facebook. That's right. And if you take a look at our group here, we've got 173 members right now. And I'll tell you what, if you want to join us, let us know. We've got people from all the way from Myanmar, which used to be called Burma, to India, to South Africa, Kenya. We've got people from Europe. We've got people from North America. But we don't have anybody from Greenland. So if you're from Greenland and you want to join us, let us know, okay? Also, what do we do here? Oh, yeah, when I put here, join me for another live edition for Money and Change. Well, guess what? All the topics that we're going to talk about tonight, if we get a chance to talk about them, will be listed in the comment section. And we've got a lot of different things to talk about. So if you missed something and you want to go back and check to see what we've covered, those are the links. All you do is click on them and it takes you right to the links, okay? And that's the same with any past shows that we do. That's all you have to do. And we have videos too. Hey, Grid Down Reality up in Michigan with Eric and family with Goshen Prepping. Oh, yeah. And he talks about how the power problems were and how he got around that. Also, you can also see our past editions of Money and Change, and I'll tell you what I'll do. After this show is over with, I will go ahead to good old YouTube and post a link. Now, if for some reason we have a problem with YouTube to the link to the show, I will go ahead and put a link to Rumble because we're also on Rumble, rumble.com. So you want to check that out. But we talk about a lot of different things, living on $589 a month. Can you do that? Prepper Princess can. All you have to do is check her out. And guess what? It's right here on the Money and Change / financially prepped page. Right there. All you have to do is join. Okay, it's free to join and stay updated with a lot of information. Wow, what else is going on? Oh, yeah. Hey, the big thing in the news lately was President Trump sending the troops down to get the leader of Venezuela, Maduro, and they kind of paid him a nighttime, midnight visit. And I guess he had people from the U.S. military plus police, because he was indicted in New York and they extradited him for probably narco traffic and a few other things. And so anyhow, I saw this article from Jonathan Turley today. And he says, Operation Absolute Resolve, why jump went off script and why it will not matter. Yeah, why won't it matter? Well, he gave a big press conference. And it was kind of interesting when he did it. And Jonathan Turley said, it can fairly be said that the most precarious jobs in the world are those of a golf ball collector on a driving range, a mascot at a Chuck E. Cheese, and a Trump administration lawyer. Well, that was evident at the press conference on Friday as President Donald Trump blew apart the carefully constructed narrative presented earlier for the seizure of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celicia Flores. Now, some of the U.S. Had written that, or some of us had written that Trump had a winning legal argument by focusing on the operation as a seizure of two indicted individuals in reliance on past judicial rulings, including the decisions in the case of former Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega. And however, while noting the purpose of the nature, President Trump proceeded to declare the United States would engage in nation building to achieve lasting regime change. And he stated that they would be running Venezuela to ensure a friendly government and the repayment of seized U.S. property dating back to the government of Hugo Chavez. So they're taking back the equipment that was suddenly taken from them, and it's going to be interesting. And some people were sending out emails today and things on Facebook, and they were saying that, how dare you do this, and, return Maduro and everything else. And other people were saying, hey, wait a minute, you didn't see the Venezuelans partying in Florida. They were happy that he was gone. Now they can go back to their own country and live a life. It's interesting. So we'll wait and see what happens. And legally, I believe President Trump has the legal right to do what he did, especially under criminal indictments. So, check it out. You've got the immediate purpose and result of that operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to face his indictment in New York. And that's what you call, what they call Noriega 2.0. And the administration put him into custody at the time of extradition with law enforcement personnel and handed him to the Justice Department for prosecution. The Trump administration can then argue that it had to deal with the aftermath of the operation and would not simply leave the country without a leader or stable government. So it's nation building. And more than likely, what will happen is that they will have a national election in whatever time frame it would be, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and elect their own government by the people and for the people. Okay. And then the US can kind of step aside. And that's really the way to do it. I mean, you've got criminals down there that are supplying drugs to the US that are killing people, kids, adults, old people. It doesn't make any difference. Killing people with drugs. And President Trump doesn't like that. And so, if you can take care of that situation and also help build up the economy in Venezuela, because they used to have a thriving petro industry down there, oil industry. And so, if you can revive that and get that going again, and no more drugs and cartels and things like that, that'd be fine. That would really help those people out, and they deserve to have that help. Wow, if you take a look at the oil reserves in the world, here's a chart of it. And this was again on Zero Hedge, but you take a look at it, and you've got Kuwait with 102 billion barrels a day, and you have Saudi Arabia with 267 billion barrels a day, and then you've got 209 out of Iran. But you look at Venezuela, that's 303 billions of barrels of oil. Yeah, 303 billion. And you take a look at the US, way up in the corner. It's only got 45 billion. Canada has 163 billion. So you can see Venezuela's a big oil producer. So hopefully they can get their industry going and money can start flowing into the people's hands in Venezuela, and the businesses can grow and Venezuela can return to being a very profitable country. Wow, what else is going on? Oh, yeah, the US debt clock. Holy cow. You take a look at the US debt clock. I have to shrink the screen here just a little bit. If I do it right, it's always in clicking the right buttons. And if I don't do it the right way, things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Well, anyhow, it's easy to go here, find out all your data, and supposedly it's real time. It's usdebtclock.org. Don't put in .com. It won't appear. usdebtclock.org. And you take a look at everything, and the US right now is at 38,566,958,000,000 and climbing. That's $112,523 per citizen. Do you have that? Can you pull that cash out? Not too many people can. Debt per taxpayer is $355,810. Do you have that money on hand to pay off that debt? How did we get there? That is the big thing. How did we get there? Well, the government likes to spend money like a bunch of drunken sailors. You've heard me say that time and time again. Only the drunken sailors know when to quit because they run out of money, but not Congress. We need to write Congress and say, hey, cut the spending out. You're spending too much money. You're putting us in debt. You're putting my grandchildren in debt. You're probably putting my grandchildren's grandchildren in debt. We don't need to go there. And I think Trump has a way to take care of that, hopefully. But this debt is going to be out of sight, and we won't be able to even afford the interest. And it's going to be tough right now. So the revenue coming in per taxpayer is $3,247. That is a shortfall when you have to pay out $38 trillion and counting. And yeah, this is good for a site with good information. And if you want to take a look at the US population, 342,722,815 people. Okay. And out of that, only 108,344,749 are taxpayers. Think about that one. You know, we've got people on Medicare and Medicaid, and the biggest items in the budget, Medicare, Medicaid is at, let's see, 1,926,000,000,000. Am I doing that right? Yeah, 807,600,000 and flying dollars. And then we've got Social Security, we've got the Defense Department, and we've got interest on the debt. That is really scary. Interest kills. You know what I tell people? I've said this for years. Pay down your debt. Put some money aside. Buy some long-term food. Be able to purify and store water, at least 3 gallons per person per day in case of an emergency. Make sure that you have a good first aid kit. Make sure you have batteries for flashlights. Make sure you might even have solar batteries if you have the chance. Solar panels that hook up to a charging unit. Hey, during sunlight, you can charge those batteries and you can use your lights inside at night. Do you have generators? How about blue tarps? You get a hole in your roof and you don't have the money to fix it right now, but you will have maybe after you save a little money. Well, you put a blue tarp over the hole in your roof and protect it so you don't get a leak. They're very inexpensive. All you have to do is go to Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's or any other store. Those tarps are very inexpensive and they're very tough and they can weather out storms. You could turn them into tents if you wanted to. You can protect equipment if you wanted to. If you have a leak in the roof, you could protect that too. How about a broken window? Oh yeah, you can use that to cover over the window. So blue tarps come in handy. And personally, I have 4 blue tarps. And I keep them in storage. So if I need to use them, it's there. Do I have extra gasoline and kerosene? Yes, I do. And they're very well stored. So, you know, you have to do that. Make sure you have a good medical kit and not the cheapies that they put in Walmart. Get yourself a good first aid kit. Make sure you have your medications on hand. You combine that all together and they say, oh, you're a prepper. No, I'm a prudent person. And that prudent person is one that if there's an emergency out there, I can get by on that emergency. And one thing I forgot to mention, and I always mention it, GMRS radios. Oh yeah, right here. This is an Ocean 935G Plus, and I can talk 35 miles from here to Dayton, Ohio to a repeater. And from that repeater, I can go out 90 more miles. And I've done it. I've met different people all over the area with it. And they have repeaters all around your area. And these are great, great, great radios to have. $35 a year for like 35, not a year. Oh no. $35 for 10 years, a whole 10 years for a license. And you get a call sign, and anybody in your family can use the radio. Mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, you know, whatever. In your immediate family, they can use it. And it's great for communicating when the power goes out. Just keep the radios charged and use them. I learned that from David Gilmour, and he's a YouTuber. He has over 700 videos on different topics. He got me turned on to those GMRS radios, and I'll tell you what, I love them. Matter of fact, I have a few. And not only the Ocean, I've got some Baofangs now, and they're neat. And they're even smaller than that Ocean 935G Plus. Matter of fact, I got to lean out here. This little tiny thing is a Baofeng Mini. And I was on the road the other night, and I had to go to a meeting. And for the heck of it, I went to the town. I got on the local repeater there because I know that frequency. And I could talk on the GMRS radio. It was great. And it can fit in your shirt pocket or in your car. It comes in handy, okay? You've heard all that before, haven't you? I've explained that every year for probably the last, 15 years? And still people aren't preparing. It's a good thing to do it. So what happens if the power goes out now? We're in cold season here in Ohio. I don't know about you, but we had snow on the road and on the grass and the houses and everything else. And it's melting away now. And we'll have a warm spell this next week. After that, it'll go back into a cold season again. Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared for colds and flu season? It's out there and people are getting it. Are you washing your hands frequently? Are you staying away from large crowds? Are you using hand sanitizer? That comes in handy once in a while. Not all the time, but once in a while. Do you take other precautions for flu and colds? My advice is stay away from sick people. And if you're around sick people, get away from them as soon as possible. And before Christmas, I had to go into the emergency room. And I was there for about 6 hours and they were packed. They had a lot of people with colds and flus and everything else. And I wanted not to get close to anybody. And I had another issue. And luckily, we got it sorted out and I was out of there in 6 hours, which was great. Because being around sick people, I'll tell you what, you have a tendency to pick up germs. So it's cold season, it's flu season. Be careful on what you do, where you go, okay, and who you see. Just a word of advice, I like to help people once in a while. Hey, winter energy bills. Have you noticed your bill going up and up and up because it's cold outside? Yeah. Think of the people in Florida that really don't have any heaters that work worth anything. And it's probably 40 degrees down there. That's cold weather. Tell you what, you have to find ways to cut your heating bill. Do you have leaks around your windows, doors, vents? You have to seal those up. Pay really close attention because the hot air leaking out and the cold air coming in causes problems and it raises up your heating bill. Well, there was an article in Zero Hedge, winter energy bills surge, leaving American families struggling. Well, hey, money's tight and times are hard. And so what you have to do is try to save money as best you can. Now, some people say set your thermometer at 68 degrees and leave it there. Don't change it. Well, for me, I need a little bit more warmth. As you get older, you have to have a little bit more warmth. You either put on more heavy clothes or else you turn the heat up. And I do. I get about 72 degrees, but most people say 68. And I knew some people that struggled for their heating bill and they had a large house. And actually, their temperature inside the house was set at 60 degrees. I just about froze in that place. Well, anyhow, you have to watch your electric bills and your gas bills. Well, this article came up and said, as December BGE bills arrive after the cold winter, many Hartford County residents say soaring energy costs are leaving them frightened and overwhelmed. Of course. And Jenny, who lived in a 1,000 square foot home and keeps her thermostat at mid-60s is facing a bill of about $400 despite working full-time and spending most of the day out of the house. And the fear of being turned off, especially with it being, some mornings in the teens, you can be really fearful. And Jenny said, well, I can afford, or can I afford groceries this month? Or do I pay the BGE bill and go to food pantries? Sometimes it gets tough. People say, I don't know whether I have enough money for toilet paper or food. And both are necessities. Well, anyhow, there was Teresa Stepp, and she received a bill exceeding $1,200. And everybody uses more gas and electric for heat in the winter, and that is not uncommon. It is the norm. So with that being said, still it seems excessive according to Stepp. A 72-cent increase for the average residential electric bill. A $1.95 increase for the average residential gas bill. Can you imagine living in an all-electric home and that bill goes up and up and up? Yeah, you take a look at your electric meter and it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. Do you have lights in your house? Are they LED lights? If not, you might want to consider changing them. Every time you leave a room, do you turn the light off? How many rooms where the lights are on? How many do you have? Personally, I might have 2 lights on. And they're basically automatic. They're on automatic switches. And then the rest of it here for the show, yeah, I turn on a couple extra lights. And that's it. I don't have any more. And my electric bill and utility bill combined for the city where I live is roughly about $160 a month. My gas bill is between $50 and $70 a month for natural gas. Some people with propane or fuel oil and so forth, those bills can be horrendous. So, people are concerned about saving money. Well, let's see what we have here. I've got a video for you. Watch this.
We're going to talk about my favorite thing, guys, now. Money. Money. This morning's Money Watch. Millions of Americans have been dealing with plenty of wintry weather going into Christmas, and that means higher heating bills, something a lot of us really can't afford right now. National consumer correspondent Usher Qureshi looks at what's behind the rising costs and how you can save money.
Bundle up. This winter has already been a cold one, and more frigid air is on the way.
I'm freezing. My nose hurts.
Heating bills are already climbing due to higher demand and delivery costs and surging power usage. Experts predict a more than 9% jump from last year, costing homeowners with electric heat more than $1,200 for the season and natural gas homeowners around $700. This comes as Americans are already paying around 18% more for both groceries and housing compared to 2022.
There are ways to lower your energy costs, and it starts with a home audit. To walk us through how that works, we're joined by building consultant Justin Castronova. Justin, where should you start?
The best place to start, Usher, would typically be your doors and windows around the exterior of the home. In this home in particular, we can actually see there's holes here, and you can feel the cold air blowing through these gaps.
Tackle the obvious leaks.
Maintaining your weather stripping, caulking around the inside and outside with the appropriate caulk, because there is different kinds. And then around the outlets, you could spray foam around it after turning off the power, of course. And then they do make gasketed covers with a weather seal to minimize the drafts.
Fireplaces may be festive, but they could cost you.
A fireplace doesn't necessarily always heat your house.
No. Very limited amounts do. Most would lose more heat than it would create.
Another cost-saving upgrade, newer appliances.
And this unit is energy rated.
It's an upfront cost that saves you long-term.
Anywhere from $10 to $50 a month, depending on the size of the appliance and how many you have.
And in older homes, to help bring bills down, just look up.
In this attic in particular, there's not anywhere near enough modern insulation. You have about 1 to 2 inches, and normally I would want to see 1 to 2 feet.
And ventilation is really important in an attic, right?
Yes.
Why is that?
We need air to move. Circulation will allow to keep the inside of your house more comfortable and minimize the exterior problems with snow and ice melt.
Some utility companies will give you a free home energy audit or even incentives to help you make energy saving upgrades.
If you're struggling with high energy bills, there are state and federal programs that can help you cut costs. You can also reach out to local nonprofits and your utility company to find out about grants or payment plans. The best way to find out what you qualify for is to dial 211. For CBS Mornings, I'm Usher Qureshi in Arlington Heights, Illinois.
I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Incredibly expensive. My mom used to say, just put on a hat,
Yeah.
put on a sweater, because we're not moving this thermostat.
I bring down the blankets. I'm like, we're just going to use these.
Exactly. I'm like, Mom, I can see my breath.
We're weak. I love what he said, though, because this time of year, you always think, oh, fireplace.
Yeah.
That can actually make things more expensive. Yeah.
Point.
That's good. All right. We're going to
Yeah, it is. It's more expensive. Speaking of more expensive, I was taking a look at let's put it this way, the inflation indicators for 2026. And I came up with this one. And the key thing for 2026, according to Google, is moderation, not full return. Most forecasts anticipate inflation to come down, but stay above the pre-pandemic levels, with the Fed's 2% goal potentially not fully met until 2027. Tariffs and goods. New tariffs are expected to push prices up, with their peak impact potentially felt in the early mid-2026. Services and wages. Slower wage growth is helping, but labor-intensive services like housing are proving sticky and preventing a fast drop in core inflation. Housing costs. Increases in housing costs, a major inflation driver, are expected to slow. Well, hopefully, because I'll tell you what, I was looking at some apartments and they wanted $1,700 a month. And they weren't very big, and they wanted $1,700 a month. That's here in Ohio. Maybe in New Jersey, it would be over $2,000 a month, maybe $2,500 a month. It just depends on where you live as to the cost. The expert forecast, the Federal Reserve, it's projected inflation for around 2.4% for 2026. Goldman Sachs expects core PCE to fall to just above 2%. JP Morgan sees inflation sustained through mid-2026. And the Cleveland Fed, of course, that was a 2023 paper, modeled a 2.6 core inflation. We'll have to wait and see. Wage growth, continued moderation in wage growth increases is crucial for disinflation and tariff implementation. Full effect of the tariffs on consumer goods prices still unfolding. Hey, I'll tell you what, with those tariffs, can we get lower taxes? Lower taxes mean we have more money to spend? Something to think about. What about food? Well, I was looking at food costs too. And the prediction is for 2026, the USDA forecast a slowdown in food price inflation, with overall food prices rising around 2.7%. Food at home, the grocery prices, about 2.3%, and food away from home, which is to be the restaurants, would be roughly about 3.3%. And those specific items like beef and certain staples could see a steeper hike, driven by supply chain stabilization, but potentially impacted by new tariffs. Overall trends, slowing inflation, food price increases are expected to moderate compared to recent years. It's still rising with slower growth. Prices will continue to climb, meaning grocery bills will still increase just at a slower pace. For example, I have a favorite restaurant I like to go to once in a while. And I always get lunch there, and it's usually a bowl of their really good vegetable soup and a toasted cheese sandwich. And I'll tell you what, and a drink. I have to include the drink. And it used to be $12.60. Now it is over $18. Yeah, the prices went up. Do I go there as much? No, I don't. And a lot of other businesses are probably experiencing the same thing. But if I do go and I want to just get something to drink and sit around and shoot the breeze, with friends for socializing, yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, prices are going up no matter where you go. Once a $30 bill for two people is now $40. Is it ever going to go back down? I don't know. I can't say. I hoped it would, but I doubt if it will, because they have to pass their costs on to the customer. So as the food cost goes higher, then the prices go higher on the retail end of it. Okay. Hey, in Germany, I saw something today about the banking sectors facing growing crisis amid record insolvencies. And this was on Zero Hedge again. And I looked at that and I thought, now, wait a minute. If I remember right, back in 1929, they started having a problem over in Europe. And not only with bank insolvencies, but a whole bunch of other issues. And the Depression didn't hit here until just about a year later, because they had a slower way of processing money. And I think what we have to do is look at what's going on in the German banks, especially with Deutsche Bank, and there are several other banks. And you have to look at them and say, okay, are we going to have a problem with finances? Now, in this article by Thomas Colby, it says loan defaults in the past year are estimated at around 57 billion euros. That's probably about 50 billion or 52 billion US dollars. These losses hit suppliers and banks hard, especially since the German Mittelstand finances roughly 40% through savings banks and 25% through cooperative banks. And already in the past year, losses from corporate insolvencies have accumulated to around 59 billion euros. And these causes have long been known. The persistent weakness in the German economy results from toxic mix of overregulation, climate policy-driven deindustrialization, a self-inflicted energy crisis, and high fiscal burdens. Remember that, because you'll see it here. And if you do, pay very close attention to what's going on. And they call this a poisonous cocktail, severely straining the economy. And it weakens private demand and makes industrial production in Germany increasingly unattractive. Yeah. So that one paragraph tells us to have a heads up on our economy here, because what happens in Germany could then spread to France, could spread to England, Spain, Sweden, Norway. You see where I'm going with this? So prepare. You have to prepare. Buy your extra food, canned food, freeze-dried food, extra pasta, extra canned meats, and do that in moderation, but buy enough for at least a month. If you can get more than 2 months or 3 months, that's fantastic. Because if the German banking sector has a bad accident, it's a ripple effect because a lot of other banks are tied into the German banks in Europe. So you got to watch out for that. Okay. Just a heads up. What else is going on? Oh, yeah, there was a thing on MCI, upcoming decision on Bitcoin treasury companies. You know what I always say about Bitcoin or any type of, let's put it this way, well, what do I want to call it? You have Bitcoin and other coins out there. I'll just be real frank with you. If you can't touch it, you can't see it, can you spend it? So then why have it? Bitcoin goes up and down and up and down. At one point, it was, what was it, $62,000 a coin. Then it went up to something about 80,000 a coin or 92,000 a coin. Okay, show me the coin. All you have is a wallet, and the wallet is just to store your ones and zeros. And there's nothing there except ones and zeros, comprising the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I'd rather have physical, and I mean physical being the solid gold, silver, platinum, copper. Copper's becoming a valuable metal right now. And silver, it's being used in industrial processes. And the price of silver has gone up to $72 and some odd cents, up to as high as $90 for an ounce of silver. So if you bought silver way back when at $15.85, look what it's worth now. And if the economies of all the different countries go down the tubes, it's going to be worth a lot more. Same thing with gold. Gold, and we'll take a look at that in a little bit, but it was like $4,500, I think, for an ounce. Yeah, it's gone up. Well, anyhow, be very cautious about cryptocurrencies. Oh, we've got another one here. Rise and fall web-based phishing attacks. Yeah, we're going to go phishing right now.
And against that.
Well, it's of course very difficult, and I think as just a user who maybe is less aware of these kinds of things, awareness is always helpful. And so I would say the same way that you might pause and think before you go clicking on a link that you're unsure of the source, or opening a file attachment in an email that you're unsure of the source. If someone is trying to solicit some kind of action from you, whether that is accessing a website that maybe you don't trust or less familiar with, or particularly logging into your Google account or your Microsoft account, and you're taken from maybe the initial website to another website and then prompted to log in, that's where kind of your spidey sense should start tingling a little bit. And it's worth maybe picking up the phone or sending a text message to validate that that trusted person who sent you this message, that communication is in fact who they claim to be.
And finally, Mark, another one you talk about here, the Calendly phishing campaign. Walk us through that one.
Sure. So we identified another campaign this year where attackers were phishing their targets, sending these malicious email messages with fake Calendly links. And many people use Calendly in their work, of course, to schedule meetings and find availability. And these Calendly themed phishing emails were ostensibly reaching out to schedule job interviews. And they were appearing to come from trusted brands like Disney, Lego, Unilever, with the enticement to click on this Calendly link to schedule a job interview. So kind of a couple of different things in play there. One, you had trusted, recognizable brand. We're also kind of playing on emotions here, in this job market, big opportunity for a job interview at a big company. Of course, that's very attractive. So in terms of that initial, what we would call allure, it was very convincing, difficult for people to kind of pick out. On the other side of that attack, the goal there was to trick people into signing into an account for Google Ad Management, which we know attackers often use to create malicious advertisements so that when you go to Google and you do a search for, let's say, sports equipment, you're served up ads that will take you to these same kinds of malicious websites. So that campaign was pretty interesting from the perspective of that social engineering, very convincing ways of tricking people into clicking on those links, but also in terms of what the attackers are likely to do with that information once those accounts are compromised.
It's an ever-evolving landscape. You've got your hands full there, Mark.
Yeah, we all have our hands full. We do. Hey, how about saving money on a car? We got to do that real quick.
This morning's Money Watch. If you're in the market for a new or used car, listen up. A rising number of Americans, 28%, now have auto loans worth more than the value of their vehicles. Those high costs mean it's more important than ever to extend the life of your car. So whether it's gas, hybrid, or electric, we spoke with a mechanic for all the tips you need to prevent an expensive fix. Prices on new and used cars are near record highs. The average sticker price for a new set of wheels is above $51,000, up $10,000 from 5 years ago. A 3-year-old vehicle will cost you on average $31,000, up from $24,000. Even the cost of repairs have increased by 38% since 2021. Now, there are ways to make your car last longer and stave off some of those costly repairs. So with me is Audra Forden. She's the owner of Great Bear Auto Shop in Queens, New York. So first off, why does it cost so much more now to repair your car?
Well, cars used to be mechanical, but now they're electronic. And between service intervals, it lasts a lot longer, but it's still electronics are a lot more expensive.
That's why she says it's as important as ever to pay attention to dashboard warnings.
You see any yellow lights on your dashboard, you need to schedule an appointment for maintenance. The red lights, your car needs help. It's like screaming at you when it's blinking to let you know that something urgent needs attention.
Forden says most vehicles should go in for preventative maintenance every 5,000 miles. Save yourself some money with a DIY oil check.
You're going to just pull out the dipstick, wipe it clean so that you have a clean finish, and then you're going to put it back in all the way, and then you're going to take it out. It's the second time that you're really going to pay attention and see where the oil is on the dipstick.
And even if it's full, if the oil is brown and dirty, it's time to replace it.
This one's did its job and this one's ready to roll and start working.
Also, look for corrosion on the battery and don't forget the air filter.
A real good rule of thumb is once a year to change your air filter and your cabin filter too. It will definitely save you money on gas. Your engine will breathe better.
A replacement will run you $75, but will help prevent costly repairs later.
What about repairs on either electric cars or hybrids? They're still cars. So they still need maintenance. They still need air filters. They still need coolant. And it's most important that you take care of that because you also want to prolong the life of your EV and your hybrid. How do you know when you've got a trustworthy mechanic? Are there any red flags if you don't? Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, believe it. You drove into the shop, you can drive out. If you're bringing your vehicle in for a safety recall, that should be a free repair. If during that time they come to you with a laundry list of thousands of dollars that services that need to be repaired, I would go for a second opinion.
And ask your mechanic to show you what they say needs fixing.
Even if you don't understand exactly what's going on, you'll be able to tell if something is leaking or broken.
Some simple ways to get more money and miles out of your set of wheels. Now, Forden says because cars are so expensive these days, a lot of our customers choose to pay for the big repairs, even on older vehicles, instead of trading in their car for a new one. So guys, that's all the more reason to stay on top of maintenance to prevent something more costly.
When I see the yellow light, I just kind of slow down and don't do anything, but now I know I have to take it in.
Okay. Future Adriana's problem.
So much, I know, right? No, we have to live in the now, Kelly.
Yeah.
So what about tariffs? How have they impacted repair costs?
So, I asked this to Forden and she said it's surprisingly not been a big deal, except on the things that are rubber. So think tires as well as batteries, but otherwise she hasn't seen a big spike because of tariffs.
I like what she says about getting a second opinion because they're like, the alternator's broken. And I'm like,
Okay.
If you say so.
Yeah, exactly.
Drinking warm water.
Well, I'm not going to drink warm water. But anyhow, check your car. You'll save some money. Hey, right now, if you take a look at the price of gold, $4,347.60. It's gone up $13.80 since we've talked. Can you afford that? If you had spare money, would you get an ounce of gold that is that much? That's getting up there. That's awful expensive. Silver is at $73.54. It took a slide over the last couple of days, and so it's down to $73.54. And platinum is at $2,155.70. It went up $89.20. That's through APMEX. You want to go ahead and check the reliability and the credibility and so forth before you buy any gold and silver, because it's a hedge on calamity. It really is. And if you've been investing in silver over the years, your investment has really gone up. So, that's what I'm trying to do, is actually save everybody some money here. Because, if we can't save you a little bit of money or tell you how to get things done, then, we really haven't done our job. And it's 2026, so time to turn over a new leaf. So you make sure that you get your bills paid, you've set up an emergency fund, because you never know what you may need. You may need new brakes on your car, a new belt, new alternator for that matter. You might have a roof leak that needs fixed. You might need other things. And so each week, take that extra $20 and put it aside. Put it in the bank and build it up. Because when that bill for $1,000 for repair on the car comes, you don't want to put it on a charge card. You want to pay it off as soon as possible. If you do put it on a charge card, I'll put it that way. Hey guys, that's about all I've got for this week. Hopefully 2026 is going to be a lot better. And, pay down your debt, put some money aside, buy some long-term food, prepare. And if you need it, you got it. Okay? Have a good week, and we will see you Wednesday on My World. And what else is going to go on? Oh, yeah, next Sunday, because it'll be live again with Money and Change. Have a good week. Save your money. See ya.